What's up, guys? QahirTheConqueror here. Welcome back to my channel for yet again another video. First off, I want to say sorry it's been a little bit of a time delay between my last video and this one, but as I said, please bear with me. Have a really busy senior year and I have a lot on my plate, but still I will not neglect this channel and not put out videos. In this video, I hope this hits. I think this is especially important to talk about. In this video, I'm just gonna go and talk about self-worth and knowing your power, knowing your worth, knowing your value. I want to start this by saying, when you know your worth, you move differently. When you know your power, you move differently. When you know who you are, you move differently. Give a few examples. These are extremes, but good examples to use. People who have put the work in to get to certain heights in life, celebrities, athletes, actresses, doctors, scientists, name whatever, politicians, whatever gripes you have against people that got there, many of them, if not a large majority, put in a lot of work. You don't know what they sacrificed or lost or had to do to get there. Because of that, plus, also, you have to kind of convince yourself of certain things in order to make it, to be successful. So they have egos, but they don't just act like nobody. When they come in the room, and some of these people might have, like I said, huge egos and personalities, but there's a certain aura, a certain confidence, a certain flavor, swagger that you maneuver with when you know who you are. I also want to say, unfortunately, many of us, men, women, everything else in between, we don't know our worth. We don't know our power. We don't know who we are. And we allow and enable much more than we're okay with, and we settle in a lot. Me, personally. And it kind of hurts to admit it, but I'm more mature now, so I don't care. I did not know my worth. I didn't know my power. And just recently, to be truthful, did I really start to live and embody and discover that. Now, it doesn't mean that I hated myself or that I just allowed anybody to do anything or say anything or take advantage of me in certain regards, but I realized that most of what I endured, tolerated, dealt with, whether it was with a job, friendship, relationship. See, don't think cheap with this conversation, this topic. I'm not just speaking of love and romance. It's much bigger than that. It's a part of it, but not all of it. There's a lot that if I had have really stood firm to my morals, values, and things like that, many situations would have gone differently. And it takes time. It takes certain lessons to be learned. It takes certain experiences for you to kind of shape that dignity and to be able to be comfortable standing on it. I made a video about boundaries. Go check that out. But tying into that, you really can't stand on these principles and live in your authentic reality if you don't know who you are, you don't know your worth, you don't know your value, what you bring to the table. Because people will treat you differently based on how much you respect yourself. It is what it is. It sucks. There are women beautiful and everything else in between. They don't know their worth. They don't know their power. And if they're attracted to men and that's who they choose to deal with, there are certain people that are going to take advantage of them because they allow them to. And the same can be for the inverse. Good guys out there, they don't know their worth. They don't know their power. They don't know themselves. So they settle for whatever little feeling and emotion they get. And then somebody kind of takes advantage of them because they don't know their worth. When you know your power and your worth, you move differently. You don't allow people to talk to you any kind of way. You don't allow people to treat you any kind of way. You don't demand respect, but that aura that doesn't even need to be spoken of, that swagger that you have, that charisma, whatever, it is like a force field. Like you ward off and bounce off certain energies and vibrations. You don't allow people to just handle you any certain way because you know you're valuable. It doesn't mean it's okay to have a huge ego, to be extremely arrogant and a bad person, but it just means that you know, this is my name, and this is what I stand for, this is what I bring to the table, and I won't tolerate somebody to treat me like I'm nothing. I won't tolerate somebody treating me like I'm replaceable if I'm not replaceable. If you're the star quarterback for your team and you're the best quarterback in the division or something like that, you wouldn't go out there if you got the worst contract out of everybody in the division. You're probably going to want top dollar money. So you are going to represent yourself in a certain way if you're on that echelon. And you won't allow people to put you in those categories if you don't belong there. See, to try to tie all of this together, you need certain experiences, certain hardships to kind of happen. Adversity is meant to build you up and strengthen you, but also at the same time, there has to be a certain point in time where you realize, I am who I am. I'm valuable. I'm loved. I'm wanted. I'm appreciated. You have to affirm and you have to switch your mindset, and you have to make sure that you walk as somebody who knows who they are in the world. You know what your purpose is. You know what you're here for, what you're destined to do. And you cannot do that if you don't know your worth, because you will allow people to belittle you, to demean you, to do things to you, to act towards you in certain ways that will crush you. And you cannot expect other people to show up for you in this way because it's not their job and responsibility. As I mentioned earlier, if we go back to the easily adaptable and relatable concept of relationships, it's not on your partner necessarily to know your worth and to treat you a certain way. You would like for them to treat you in the best way, but it's not on them. It's on you to make sure that you know that, so that way you can identify people that are good for you, that will show up for you in the ways you need. You pick the partner. Now, if you guys pick each other, if they pick you, but you have to pick them too to be your partner. It's not a one-sided scenario. So basically, to sum this video up is, I hope all of you out there, if you're listening, take the time. It's ugly. It's an ugly process. It's dirty. It's rough. It's trying. It's strenuous. It's draining, exhausting, but you have to find out who you are. What do you represent? Why do you belong here? I belong here. You have to affirm and go through all of that in order to make sure that you stand in this world as that version of yourself. And then once you go through all of that, once you do all of that, you move differently. You walk differently. You command respect. You don't allow anybody to disrespect you. And it doesn't mean that if somebody does, or if somebody steps on a boundary, that you crash out. It just means that you realize, okay, you don't appreciate me, you don't respect me, you don't value me, or whatever the situation is. So you make a decision to go do what's best for you, and whatever that way, shape, or form is. So you need to know your worth. It's not on your job to know your worth and to pay you what you're worth. It's on you to know that before you go in there, so that way when they ask you after the interview is over, hey, what are you looking for? What are you looking to make? I'll take the minimum. You don't know your worth. Or a partner to do whatever they want to you and just expect you to keep running back and forth because they got you wrapped around their finger. You don't know your worth. You don't know your power. You have friends that take advantage of you because you say yes at every single turn. You never say no. And it's okay sometimes to say no to do what's best for you. You don't know your worth. You don't know your power. You're powerful. We're all worthy. We're all worth it in some way, shape, or form. Make sure you know that, and then make sure the world knows that when they interact with you. So I hope this video helped. If it did in any way, shape, or form, please like, comment, and or subscribe. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. See you for the next video.